अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काहे कौन स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So, welcome to the class. Today we will be starting the textbook. Darshidi, can I make you a host? No, you are not there, right?
Jai Jinendra, my computer is doing an update and I won't be able to share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else can share, or otherwise I will share. I think I will share. So everyone has to take out a printout, and if you want me to courier, I can also courier. There is no problem as such.
We will take printouts now.
Okay. So you should take printout, okay? Otherwise, you'll not be able to study it properly. If you have any questions?
Sir, one doubt, that author, Suddhatma, whether she is related sister of her, Swatanu, that...
She is mother of Swanubhuti ji.
Ayyo, sorry. Okay. That photo we have seen, no? Same face. I thought sister like that.
She is mother.
She's like that only.
Okay. So you can see the pronunciation of diacritics here.
Yeah, very nicely. I saw, gone through.
A is pronounced like the first A in avoid. A and diacritics about A, then it means A. So what kind of pronunciation you have to do? Here it is all mentioned. You just go through it and try to pronounce in that manner. So all these are given, and this is the second time that we are doing this translation. Earlier there was one edition which I edited also, reviewed also, everything was done. But since last 2 months, maybe 2 months, the ChatGPT's quality has improved further. So we redo it again, and that's why it took time. But now I am very satisfied with the quality. The earlier quality was not that good. It was very confusing, but now it is absolutely flawless. So whatever papers henceforth you will be studying, you will get good translation in English. And the next paper, that is paper number 3, Gunasthan Vivechika, that translation has been completed in ChatGPT. Now I am reviewing it. So by the time we finish this, you will get that ready also, and that quality is also very good. I am almost done 30% of the corrections, and it's all very good quality. So that also you will enjoy. So now we are having at last a good time as far as our textbooks are concerned. And if the textbooks are of good quality translation, then automatically our interest also develops. So this was something that we were lacking, and now I'm trying to do Moksha Marg Prakashak also. So the next time when we read Moksha Marg Prakashak, I think we will get a good quality. So that's good news for all of us. Now straightway, first before we start on to this textbook readings, of course you will be understanding everything whatever I have taught you through the charts and the PowerPoint presentation. It's all good and very correct, and it's done in an easy manner. Now when you read this, you will feel that it's not that easy. If you would have read this directly. But since we have done it through chart, so now the things will be easier for you and you will be able to understand from here also, just because you already know the content. Okay, so if you have any questions coming to your mind regarding what we have studied so far, in fact, we have studied the whole syllabus, but still, if you have any questions, I can take that up. Otherwise, we will start reading this textbook. So all are good. That's also very good news. So we will start the reading of the textbook. So what is the purpose of studying this Adhyatam ke Nay? What do you mean Adhyatam? In English it is called spiritual. So in Hindi it's combination of two words. Adhi plus Atam. Adhi means adhikar. Okay. And Atam means soul. So where the soul is being highlighted, the scriptures in which the soul is highlighted, that is called Adhyatam. Okay. And this is, we are going to study viewpoints. So it is spiritual viewpoints. Adhyatam ke Nay. The sole purpose is to practice and execute discriminative knowledge, Bhed Vigyan. Okay. So that is the purpose of this, learning this particular set of Nay, Nischay Nay and Vyavhar Nay, real viewpoint and conventional viewpoint. Of course, we have other viewpoints, one set of viewpoints we studied in Tattvat Sutra, you know, Negam Nay and that all. There were 7 Nays there. And then there is 47 Nay in Pravachan Sar. Then we have one more coming up in the syllabus in the next semester, that is Agam ke Nay. So this is Adhyatam ke Nay and that is Agam ke Nay, and that Agam ke Nay is Dravyarthik Nay and Paryarthik Nay. More or less similar to this Nischay and Vyavhar, but slightly difference is there. Okay. So that also we are going to study. Then we have 47 Nays in Pravachan Sarji. That is not part of our syllabus, but if you want to study from there, then also that also you can study. And then one statement says that वक्ता के अभिप्राय को नहीं कहते हैं, ज्ञाता के अभिप्राय. So अभिप्राय means intention. So the intention of the preacher is also a viewpoint. Okay. So there, in that sense, there are infinite viewpoints. So when we understand from what viewpoint it is being said, the things become clear. And if we are not able to apply the proper viewpoints, then we will not be able to understand the essence of the statements. Okay. So it is very important that we know the viewpoint from which the things are being said. Okay. Then only we will be able to do justice to the meaning of that particular concept. Okay. So what is the necessity of knowledge of viewpoint? Why we should study this viewpoint? Okay. So that is the first topic. And Rajeshri ji, you read.
Understanding the intended aspects of viewpoints is essential for the following reasons. To understand Jinagam, for the true knowledge of the nature of the object, Vastu, for the correct right knowledge of the soul, for self-realization, Atmanubhava, to escape worldly sufferings, for the eradication of wrong, false belief, Mityatva, to attain true happiness. Without understanding viewpoints, the essence of Jinagam cannot be comprehended because the entity of Jinagam is expressed in the language of viewpoints. Therefore, knowledge of viewpoints is necessary to grasp the essence of Jinagam. Substance is a composite of infinite attributes and seemingly contradictory pairs of infinite properties. Dharam Yugala, Ugler. An entity endowed with infinite properties can be known in the entirety at the same instant, but it cannot be described together. The description of an entity with infinite attributes, gun, and properties, dharma, can only be done in parts. Such partial descriptions are done from certain perspective. Describing perspective is what is called viewpoint. Hence, it is essential to understand viewpoints for the true knowledge of a substance. The destruction of worldly suffering and the attainment of true happiness are not possible without the eradication of false belief. The eradication of false belief is not possible without self-realization. The self-realization is not possible without the correct knowledge of the soul. The correct knowledge of the soul is obtained through viewpoints. Thus, the knowledge of viewpoints is essential for us.
So see, you can see the whole connection. The first point is discussed to understand Jinagam. So that first paragraph deals with the first point. Then substance is a composite of infinite attributes. So that is describing the second point for the true knowledge of the nature of an object, nature of reality, okay, nature of soul. So that is number 2 point. Then in the third paragraph, all the other points 3 to 7, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 5 points have been covered in the third paragraph. And as we see that the correct of to know the correct knowledge of the soul, you have to understand the viewpoints. Okay. So that's why if you want to experience yourself, you want to self-realize, then you have to know the perspectives from where it is being said, the viewpoints. Okay. So this is all about the purpose. Now, the use of perspective in everyday life. So that is the second topic here, and 2 paragraphs are there. And Shashikala ji, you read.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The use of perspective in everyday life. We use reference, that is apeksha, in everyday life. For example, when we say the sugar container or Papu's bed, here the container might be made of plastic or steel, and the bed might be made of wood. However, based on their usage, we refer to them as the sugar container or Papu's bed. Without understanding the context, daily interactions cannot proceed. In this way, we see that despite using a reference, most people do not understand the form and nature of viewpoints or their distinctions. This is because, apart from Jain philosophy, no other philosophy in the world discusses viewpoints, whereas Jinagama extensively illuminates the form and various distinctions of viewpoints.
Stop. So this is not something new to us. These viewpoints, we have been using it in our everyday life, like the sugar container. So the container is of steel, but we say it as a sugar container. So this is again a conventional statement. Okay. So we have been using this Pappu's bed. Now bed is made of wood, but we say it Pappu's bed because Pappu is using it. So this kind of perspectives we use in our everyday life, and without understanding the context, daily interactions cannot proceed. So this is a part and parcel of our everyday life. Okay. Now the general form of nayas, what it means, what is its definition, and that's what we are going to start now. And Darshit ji, you read. So Rajeshri ji, you are going to take printout, right, tomorrow, or you have already taken out?
I've got it, sir, ready.
Ready. And you are sending to all Chennai people, right?
Yeah, if they want, I can send
Not
it to
necessary, sir. I will take for myself.
Okay. So everyone should take for.
No, if she, Rashi, I will take for myself, dear.
Okay.
Okay. So, and if you want, I can also courier. Okay.
No, sir. It's
But
easy for us. Every nook and corner, there's a person.
okay,
In a street, we have 10 people taking printouts.
okay.
What do you call
So
them?
No,
better.
from we got printer at home. We can print, no problem. But
Okay,
time
okay.
is there, not there. That's the only Rashi I requested you to send that.
So uh, if everyone should take a printout so that you can write, like I just said, that first paragraph is first point, then second paragraph is second point, then the third paragraph consists of 3 to 7 points. All this you can mark it in your printout if you have one with you. Okay, so hopefully tomorrow you should all have printout in your hand. Okay, Priyanka ji, you will also take out, right?
Yes,
Everyone.
sir, I can.
Yeah, everyone should take out. Okay. I know some of you must be very familiar or okay with soft copy, but soft copy always have some problem. So I would always prefer to have printout. But if anybody is very good with soft copies, also pad and something laptop and all, I don't mind. Okay. So uh, the general form of noise. Okay. The general form of viewpoints. That's what we are going to start with. And Jinali, you read.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Uh, one minute, sir. A, a viewpoint that separates a substance into its various inherent natures and establishes it in one specific nature is called viewpoint. Alternatively, that which conveys an aspect of an entity without denying denying the other aspects is called viewpoint. In certain places, the inheritance of scriptural knowledge, the intention of the knower, and the intention of the speaker are referred to as viewpoint. All entities in the world possesses both general and specific characteristics. These entities with general and specific characteristics are the subjects of the valid comprehensive knowledge or true knowledge. The knowledge that uh, correctly understands these entities is comprehensive knowledge, and viewpoint is one part of comprehensive knowledge. The subject matter of comprehensive knowledge in the complete entity, whereas the subject matter of the viewpoint is a part of the entity. As the viewpoints express only a part of an object, their scope is limited to a particular aspect of the object. Since viewpoints describe only one aspect of the object, their statements are with relative reference and not unrelated. One minute. Unrelated. While using viewpoint to make a statement, if the intended condition or specific context is not acknowledged, the information about part of the object might be misconstrued as information about the whole object, which would not be true. For instance, if we say that an elephant is like a pillar, this statement is correct in relation to its leg because an elephant's leg is like a pillar. However, if the statement is made about the entire elephant without specifying the content, it would not be correct. Similarly, if we say that the soul is impermanent, the statement is true in the context of the of its mode paryay, but it is understood as a statement about the soul as a whole entity that comprises of both substances dravya and mm, mode paryay. It would not be true, as the entity with the substance and mode is both permanent as well as impermanent. That is why only the relative reference viewpoint is called the right viewpoint, not unrelated reference viewpoint. Sir, I you need to.
Nirpeksh nahi.
Nirpeksh, no, we need to
Oh, sorry.
change the page. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
The unrevealed reference viewpoints are false and are called wrong viewpoints.
The unrelated.
Okay. Only the right viewpoints are true viewpoints and they belong only to the knowledgeable, Gnani, not to the ignorant. The viewpoints of the ignorant are not true viewpoints. They are only pseudo viewpoints.
That's all. So you see the definition. First of all, we should see the definition. A viewpoint that separates a substance into its various inherent natures and establishes it in one specific nature is called a viewpoint. Okay. So this is the first definition. Then the second one, alternatively, that which conveys an aspect, only one aspect of an entity without denying the other aspect. This is very important. Without denying the other aspects. That means other aspects are there, but we are not talking about it. We have just not talking about it. That's all. But the other aspects of that entity is always present. Okay. Just thing is that we are talking from one viewpoint. Like the example of elephant that was mentioned here. In that example, like the leg of an elephant is like a pillar. Okay. So now we are defining just the leg of the elephant and not the whole elephant. The whole elephant is not like a pillar. Okay. Only the leg is like a pillar. Trunk is like a tree, So there are the tail is like some other thing, rope, big rope, thick rope, So that way, different parts of the elephant can be explained. So we can explore one part at a time. And when we combine all these viewpoints, we get a complete picture of the elephant. And that is called comprehensive knowledge. Valid comprehensive knowledge. Okay, comprehensive knowledge is good. It is called praman gyan. So the whole knowledge of the whole entire substance without any distinctions of like with distinctions, but all are being highlighted. The substance is highlighted, the attributes is highlighted, and the modification is also highlighted. Okay. So that is called praman gyan. That is called comprehensive knowledge. Now out of this, if you are highlighting only the substance part, then it becomes viewpoint. Out of this, again, if you are highlighting only the modification, then also it is a viewpoint. So you see, if you are highlighting one aspect, then other aspects are being ignored, or we are not talking about it. That's all. But it does not say, it does not deny the other aspects. Okay. It accepts the presence of other aspects in the same substance. But only thing is that we are not talking about it.
Sir, sorry to disturb you. In the Hindi, they'll say na gown, sir,
Gone,
word.
yes, gone.
Gone, no? That
yes.
Other aspects are
Mukhya.
kept down.
The aspect that is being explained is highlighted, so it is called mukhya, and all other aspects are gone. Okay. So gone means we are not denying, but just we are ignoring that. That's all. So this was the first definition. Then second friend.
Highlighted.
Yeah. The third definition, in fact, in certain places, the intention of scriptural knowledge. Okay. Abhipray. That is scriptural, that is Shrut Gyan. That is also called viewpoint. Then the intention of the knower, Gyata ke Abhipray, that is also Nay. And the intention of the speaker or the preacher is also referred as viewpoint. So in the footnote, all the references are given here, that this definition is taken from this book, this taken is from this book. Okay. So the definitions might appear a bit different, but it is just because the different acharyas have mentioned in different scriptures about that Nay. So when we combine all the definitions together, we get a clear understanding of what is viewpoint about. Now, why the need for two viewpoints? Because every substance or every entity possesses two types of attributes. Okay, general attributes and specific attributes. Okay, these entities with general and specific characteristics are the subject of comprehensive knowledge. So when we are knowing both together simultaneously, then it is a comprehensive knowledge or true knowledge. The knowledge that correctly understands these entities is comprehensive knowledge, and viewpoint is one part of comprehensive knowledge. Okay. So one time you are highlighting the substance part, the other time you are highlighting the modification part, the other time you are highlighting some other part. So in this way, by knowing one part at a time, you are getting the knowledge of the whole substance. Okay. So when you have the knowledge of the whole substance, the true knowledge, it is called comprehensive knowledge, samyak gyan. Okay. And this nai is just a part of that true knowledge. Okay. Samyak gyan ka ansh is nai. Okay. So viewpoint is one part of comprehensive knowledge. Okay. The subject matter of comprehensive knowledge is the complete entity, whereas the subject matter of viewpoint is a part of the entity. Then the example of elephant that we already saw. So unless and until the perspective is mentioned, then only it is called viewpoint. Okay. So these viewpoints are always with reference to some perspective. Okay. And they are called the right viewpoint. But if it is not related to any references, then it is called not nay, but naya bhas, pseudo viewpoints. Okay. So pseudo viewpoints are not part of the correct knowledge. Okay. It is a part of false knowledge. So we should understand the object as it is with its relative references. Okay. Then only it is a right knowledge or true knowledge, and otherwise your knowledge becomes false. Okay. Unrelated reference viewpoint is false. Nirpeksh nahi. Nahi is never nirpeksh. It is always sapeksh. It is always with a certain perspective. All the sentences in Jinvani, whatever we read, they are being said from a certain viewpoint. Sometimes the viewpoints are mentioned, sometimes it is not mentioned, but you have to understood it. Okay, that there is some viewpoint being said, the thing is being said from certain viewpoint. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the student or the reader to know from which perspective it is being said. Okay, and with little practice we can make out, that from what perspective it is being said. The unrelated reference viewpoints are false. Okay, the unrelated are false and they are called wrong viewpoints, durnay. Okay, only the right viewpoints are true viewpoints, and they belong only to the knowledgeable jnani. So who is having the correct viewpoints, who is having right nay? Only the enlightened soul, the one who has realized himself, the one who has experienced his soul, pure soul. So when you experience your pure soul, there is this rise of viewpoints. Okay. So before that, what it is? Before that, we are just trying to understand the viewpoint. Okay. We cannot officially call it as viewpoints, but we are trying to understand. Okay. So as I said that, one moment ago it's a wrong knowledge and the next moment it is a right knowledge. Why? Because one moment ago there was this wrong belief and the next moment the right belief evolved. And so right belief evolved, so the knowledge is also called right. Now my question is, one moment ago all the belief is wrong, but the information that you have, the knowledge that you have, is all correct. Okay. So we understand the knowledge, although it is the wrong knowledge, false knowledge, but the understanding begins from there only. Okay. And when the right belief transforms, then we call it as a right knowledge. But before that also the understanding is correct. Okay. Although we call it is a wrong knowledge. Similarly, Nay also, unless and until you realize yourself, the true viewpoints are not there. Okay. So before that, we are trying to understand the proper perspective from what it is being said. So this is again a technical thing. So the last paragraph, only the right viewpoints are true viewpoints and they belong only to the knowledgeable person, not to the ignorant. The viewpoint of the ignorant are not true viewpoints. They are only pseudo viewpoints, Naya Bhas. Okay. We studied Dravya Sangra, and in Dravya Sangra, when there was discussion on meditation, so at that time it was said that the evolution of viewpoints only happens in self-realization, and that self-realization happens through meditation. Okay. So there also it was said, and here also it is mentioned. Now we are continuing the same topic when an enlightenment speaker. Okay. So who will read? Aditi, you read.
When an enlightened speaker, knowing a multifaceted entity in totality, chooses to discuss one property, dharma, out of the infinite that it possesses, that property becomes primary in the statement while other properties become secondary. The primary and the secondary differentiation is not due to the inherent attributes or properties present in the entity, but are according to the speaker's intention and purpose. The distinctions of primary, secondary, mukhyatya, and gaunatya, and intent, not intent, vivaksh, avivaksh, are characteristics of speech, not of the object itself. In the object, all attributes and properties always exist equally. The speech lacks the capability to describe all of them simultaneously, which is why the distinction of primary and secondary arises in speech. The primary property under consideration is called the intended property, and the secondary property, which is not under consideration, is called the non-intended property. In the statements of the viewpoints, the non-intended properties are not denied but are simply left unmentioned. Remaining silent about the non-intended properties, not saying anything about them, is what makes them secondary. Denial of non-intended properties is called pseudo viewpoints. The viewpoints that fundamentally help understand and explain the nature of the soul are called spiritual viewpoints. In Jain philosophy, the primary spiritual viewpoints are broadly classified into two following categories: conventional viewpoints, vyavharnai, and real viewpoints, that is nishchaynai. An object has both general, samanya, and specific vishesh characteristics, and it is understood by dividing it into these two aspects. Among these, the real viewpoints take the general aspect as its subject, and the conventional viewpoint takes the specific aspect as its subject.
Stop. So in one substance, simultaneously, both the properties exist. Now, let me clarify one thing. So there are infinite attributes in every substance, not only soul, but in matter substance also there are infinite attributes, then medium of motion, medium of rest, then space and time. All the six substances, they have infinite attributes in them. Now, we are taking the example of a soul. Okay. In the case of soul, these infinite attributes, although infinite, cannot be explained. And these infinite attributes are in the form of 4 things, First one is attribute, that is called gun. Then we have Shakti, power. Then we have Swabhav, nature. And then we have Dharma. Dharma is properties. All the 4 primarily are synonymous. Okay. But specifically, if we see to it, there is a slight difference in each. So first we take up attributes, that is gun. Okay. So these guns have paryay, modification. Okay. Like knowledge attribute. Okay. Then we have perception attribute. So all these attributes have a modification appearing every moment. Okay. Then we have some natures, swabhav. Okay. So like one attribute of the soul is tyag upadan shunyatva shakti. That means the soul never renounces anything or never acquires anything. Okay. So this is a nature of the soul. Okay. So there are some attributes which are called nature. Okay. Then the third one comes is the properties. So properties are always in pairs. Okay. And they don't have modification. Attributes have modification. And the nature is always present. Nature is something that is always present. स्वभाव उसे कहते हैं जिसका कभी अभाव नहीं होता. That means it is always present. Okay. And this dharma is properties, and these properties are 2 properties always together. That is called, it was the word used in Hindi is dharma yugal. Yugal means pairs. Okay. So they don't have modifications. And the last one was power, Shakti. So Shakti also, there is nothing present right now. Like Sarvagnatva Shakti, Sarvadarshitva Shakti. These powers manifest in the 13th stage of spiritual development. Before that, it is not that it was partial was there and then gradually it developed into a full. No. It was not there absolutely, and in the 13th stage it came in whole. Okay. So that is called Shakti or power. So this power don't have any modification of its own. Okay. So this is slightly difference among the 4. So why the need of an eye? Because the reality or the substance has 2 opposite appearing properties in it. Okay. One defines the general nature of the substance and the other defines the specific characteristics of the substance. The one that defines the general characteristics of the substance is called real viewpoint, and the one that defines the specific characteristics of the substance is called conventional viewpoint. Okay. So this you should remember. But having said that, both the properties exist simultaneously in the substance together. Okay. Only the speech has got limitation to explain both simultaneously. The speech can explain one property at a time. Okay. So that's why the use of nai is there. Without nai, we cannot define the properties of the substance. Okay. So the primary property under consideration is called the intended property, Vivakshit Dharma. That means you are going to explain that particular property. And the secondary property is, which is not under consideration, is called the non-intended property, Avivakshit Dharma. That means you are not discussing that right now. In the statement of the viewpoints, the non-intended properties are not denied, but are simply left unmentioned. We are not talking about it, that's all. Remaining silent about the non-intended properties, not saying anything about them, is what makes them secondary. Now my one question, the viewpoint applies to substances. Viewpoints are what? It is a substance or what? Can anyone answer? Where do we
Thoughts.
apply? Where do we apply these viewpoints?
And
On an object, on a dravya.
no.
No,
On your attributes, guna.
no.
No.
Two places. One is in the knowledge and the other is in the speech. Okay. So viewpoints are speech or they are part of the knowledge. That's all. So it does not apply on the substance. But to explain the substance, the viewpoints are used. Okay. So one is Kathan Paddhati for the explanation of the substance, the exposition. Okay. So these viewpoints are part of that exposition, Kathan Paddhati, okay, parts of speech, and the other is in the knowledge. So two places it applies, either in the knowledge or in the exposition of the substance. Okay.
Kahan Bhagati is the speech. That knowledge is Gyan Paddhati. Yeah?
Yes, yeah, knowledge is Gyan, right? So, so the Nai applies to either Gyan or the Kathan Paddhati, okay, expressing the reality. So, so the viewpoints are not any particular substance or modification, okay? It is just either in the knowledge or in the speech, okay, expressing for the purpose of expressing. That will come somewhere ahead. That time again we will discuss, but just I was just having this thought in mind that I should clarify this also. So there are two viewpoints, conventional and real, and first we will start the discussion with the conventional viewpoint. Okay. Yes, this one. Darshiji, you can read, or you are not going to read, right?
I can read. I'm okay to read.
Okay. Good.
So conventional viewpoint, Vyavarnai. Various scriptures provide different descriptions of conventional viewpoint, some of which are: first one, that which to some extent makes distinction or figurative treatment, upchar, among the properties, dharma, of one substance is called the conventional viewpoint, Vyavarnai. Second one, figurative exposition, upcharit nirupana, is called conventional, Vyavar. The third one, a dependent statement, parashrit kathana, is called conventional. For example, I am fat, I am thin. The fourth one, that whose topic of consideration is the distinct doer, action, etc., karta, karma, is the conventional viewpoint. For example, I see with my eyes. The fifth one, to describe the state, bhav, of one substance, dravya, as a state of another substance is the conventional viewpoint. For example, on seeing the association of ghee, calling a clay pot a ghee pot is a conventional statement. The sixth one, to ascribe the modification of one substance to another substance is the conventional viewpoint. For example, eating and drinking are modifications of matter, pudgal, but to say that they belong to the jiv is conventional. Seventh point, the conventional viewpoint explains an entity by mixing one with another. For example, calling one's own substance swadravya, of another substance paradravya, or attributing dispositions related to them. In the same way, even in casual relations, it describes one as mixed with another. For instance, calling a book the cause of knowledge. The conventional viewpoint presents its exposition by combining many substances, their modes and cause-effect, karan karya, and the like.
Karan karya.
Karan karya and the like. The 8th point, the conventional viewpoint deals with what is unreal, abhutartha. Sorry.
Yes, abhutarth. Okay, so let's consider the 8 definitions first. Okay, that which to some extent makes distinction. So in reality, the whole thing is indivisible. But to make you understand, the acharyas have divided the indivisible thing into like attributes and modifications and all. Okay. So when you want to experience, you have to take it as a whole. But when you want to understand the substance, then you have to distinct it. Okay. Okay. So that which to some extent makes distinction or figurative treatment, upchar, among the properties of one substance is called the conventional. That means it keeps on dividing. Okay. The thing is reality, the element or the substance is one whole. But to make you understand, we divided it into say attributes and modifications and their subdivisions and their subdivisions. So in this way, so when we divide any indivisible thing, it becomes a conventional statement. Okay. So when we'll study real statement always defines the indivisible things. Okay. Now the second one, figurative exposition is called conventional. Okay. So upchar, which is not real, that is called conventional statement. A dependent statement, parasrito kathan. Okay. Statement means statement. Kathan. Okay. Is called conventional. And self-oriented statement is called real viewpoint. So this is conventional viewpoint we are studying now. For example, I am fat, I am thin. Okay. So the soul is not fat and soul is not thin, but still conventionally it can be said that body is fat and body is thin. So I am considering myself as fat and thin. Okay. Because conventional statement does not depict the truth. Okay. So, but it helps in identifying the object, it helps in knowing the object. Okay. So that's why it is used in Jinvani. What is the percentage of conventional viewpoint and real viewpoint out of the total Jin scriptures that we have? If we combine the whole universe of scriptures, okay, that we have in Jainism, how much percentage statements would be from conventional viewpoint and how much will be from real viewpoint? Any guesses?
Yes, sir. More than 99% is conventional. 1%
Yes,
nature.
yes. Okay. Because in real statements, there is nothing to explain. Now that I am soul. Now, how do I explain that I am soul? So from real point of view, there are no variations. But conventional point of view, that which walks is a soul, that which talks is a soul. All these are conventional statement. So 99% of the statement you will come across in Jainism would be conventional statement. Now you have to learn the skill to get to the real thing. Okay, from the conventional aspect, you have to get to the real one. As we have studied it, from 1 to we went to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and then 8. When we reached 8, that is the time, the final thing that we got. Okay, so we got to the thing, the soul, pure soul. Starting from 1, we started discriminating. Okay, and gradually we went inside, and ultimately when we reach the number 8, that defines the true nature of the pure soul, and that is what I am. Okay, so to identify ourselves, we have to move like this. Now the fourth one, that whose topic of consideration is the distinct doer, action. Okay, karta, karm. So karta is different, karm is different. The potter makes the pot. So the potter is the maker and pot is the action. Okay. So the both are different entity. The pot is made up of mud and the potter is a human being. So two different uh, substances. When you establish a relationship between two different substances, it is always a conventional statement, viewpoint. I see with my eyes, okay, like that. Fifth one, to describe the state of one substance as the state of another substance, okay. So we are superimposing on somebody else, like seeing the association of ghee, calling a clay pot as a ghee pot. So in reality, the pot is made up of clay, but since the ghee is stored in it, we call it as a ghee pot. Okay. So ghee pot is not a true statement, but conventionally we call it like that. Sixth, to ascribe the modification of one substance to another substance. Okay. That is again a conventional viewpoint. For example, eating and drinking are modification of matter, but to say that they belong to the jeev is conventional. Okay. Then the seventh one. The conventional viewpoint explains an entity by mixing one with another. So that already covered, like ghee and clay mixed together, and it is said that the pot is of ghee. So this kind of mixture conventional statement, conventional viewpoint does. So the conventional viewpoint presents its exposition by combining many substances, their modes and cause and effect and the like. Okay. Swadravya, Pardravya, like that they mix up. The conventional viewpoint deals with what is unreal. Okay. Truth is always the real point and untruth or the false abhutarth is always the conventional viewpoint. So hope you have got an idea. Already you knew it, but since once again we repeated this. Now to continue reading further, okay. So Jinali has done. Jinpriya, you read.
Okay. From the above discussions, the following conclusions can be drawn. Definition: the viewpoint which makes distinctions within one indivisible entity and establishes non-differentiation or unity between two distinct entities is called conventional viewpoint. Within the properties of a single entity, the conventional viewpoint makes to some extent distinction and figurative treatment. Upakara. Function. The function of conventional viewpoint is to explain by making distinctions Veda in an undivided entity, impart knowledge about the association of different entities, and also how these associations are instrumental in the resulting disposition. Separates the doer, deed, and establishes a relation of doer and deed among the different substances. Statement.
So these are all repetitions. Okay, continue. Statements.
Statement. The statements of the conventional viewpoint are dependent statements. Parashrita, relative statements.
Parashrita.
Relative statements sapeksha, and therefore
Sapeksh.
figurative statements
Charit.
charita. Statements of unity made in relation to two substance or figurative statements. For example, describing the mode bhava of one substance as that of another, describing the modification parinati of one substance that of another, describing the combined modification of two substances as belonging to one substance, or making statements by mixing together cause and effect of two substances. All these are figurative statements, and they are the statements of the conventional viewpoint.
So you see in this paragraph, so two things is very apparent from here, that a conventional viewpoint, it divides the indivisible entity into many parts, and the other thing is it it mixes one substance with another substance and makes the statement. Okay, so these two things is explained here in this statement, and that was there also in the definition. So I don't say anything new from the 8 definitions of conventional statement that the CG read. Okay,
Yeah.
now continue.
The real Buddha,
Bhutarth,
and
Bhutarth and Abhutarth.
Buddhartha and unreal Abhutarth
Abhutarth.
statements of the conventional viewpoint are relative statements made for practical purposes and are dependent statements. Therefore, Ajay, can you please? Yeah, thank you. Therefore, they are to some extent real and truthful, and to some extent unreal and truthful. However, they are not entirely unreal, because the distinctions, Veda and the association that are the subject matters of conventional viewpoint do exist from their own perspective. Hence, from the perspective of the subject matter, the conventional viewpoint is to some extent real. However, self-realization does not happen when one relies on these distinctions and association. Hence, the conventional viewpoint is to some extent unreal. Alternatively, we may say the subject matter of conventional viewpoint does exist, making it somewhat real. However, it is not as desirable upadhyay as the real, so it is also somewhat unreal. Or conventional viewpoint can be occasionally useful for some people, making it somewhat real. But since liberation cannot be attained through it, it is also somewhat real and unreal and false. Hence, the term untruthful is used in a secondary sense, not in the sense of absolute untruth. Since the conventional viewpoint makes statements in terms of distinctions, while the vision is focused on distinction, the thoughtless, peaceful state, nirvikalpata, cannot exist. Therefore, the distinctions are purposefully treated as secondary and are called unreal, untruthful. Asatyartha. For example, in the scriptures, the mode paryay are said to be untruthful. This does not mean the modes do not exist at all. Rather, due to the primacy of the real viewpoint, the modes are deemed as secondary and called convention to shift attention away from them, thus being termed untruthful or unreal.
Stop. So you see, we were discussing the different dimensions of a conventional viewpoint, and so far most of them were repetitions only, because all the 8 definitions covers everything about the conventional statement. So all these are kind of overlapping each other, but still what new we can ascertain from here is so real and unreal. Okay, so it is not absolute real, it is not absolute unreal, but to some extent it is real also. Okay, so if it would have been absolutely unreal, then it would not be a part of the knowledge. Okay, so it is somewhat real and somewhat unreal. Okay, these conventional statements are useful for some people, those who are not able to understand the real viewpoint. For them, at their level, this is very useful. Okay, so from that perspective also, it is to some extent real also. Okay, so there are 3 points to that, not 3, 1 2 3 4 5 points are there, and that is also being discussed in the next question. So if it is unreal, then why we need to present this viewpoint at all? That is the question. Okay. So in that, the conventional viewpoint, the justification of conventional viewpoint is discussed through 3 points are given in the textbook, and then 2 I will refer you extra. So we will have a proper understanding that although the experience, the self-realization does not happen through a conventional viewpoint, it always happens through the real viewpoint. Okay. But still, so long we are not reached that stage, the conventional viewpoint helps us in reaching to that place. Okay. I had given one example. If you want to cross the river, you have to sit in the boat. And when you reach the destination or the opposite bank of the river, then you have to get down. Okay. So conventional viewpoint takes you towards real point, and then real point negates the conventional viewpoint. Okay. So, so why use the unreal conventional viewpoint at all? Why? Why there is a discussion of conventional viewpoint in Jainism? So for that, there are 5 points that we are going to discuss now. First, we will read the text, and then I will explain the other 2 points which are not written over here, that you can write it down if you have the hard copy with you. Otherwise, you can note down somewhere, and tomorrow when you take a printout, you can add up. Okay. So why is the unreal? Yeah, Priyanka, what's your question?
Jai Jinendra, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you might have explained this in before, but just for my understanding, who like created the conventional viewpoint and who created the real viewpoint?
It's a part of the knowledge, right knowledge. If you acquire right knowledge, then both will be present. Now the challenge is that we have to strike a balance between the two. Where the need is there to use conventional viewpoint, you have to use it. Otherwise, you cannot simply run on real viewpoint. At times you have to use conventional viewpoint, and not at times. Most of the time you will be using conventional viewpoints. Okay. Real viewpoint, it forms, it's a part of your belief system. Okay. So when
Okay.
when the question comes of belief, then you have to apply the real viewpoint. Okay. And everywhere else where there is nothing in terms of belief, then you can use the conventional statement, because conventional statements are not the truth statements, and real viewpoint statements are always the true statements. Okay. So
Okay.
wherever the need is there, you have to use conventional also and real also where the need is. The end result is that you should know the substance as it is. Okay. To know the substance in its true form, we have to use both conventional and real viewpoint as when the need is. Okay. And then only we can understand the substance in the right manner.
Okay, sir. So I was wondering, like, how we have um, that Jinendra Bhagwan, he had Samav Sharan and then he had his sermons. So in
Yeah.
the sermons, did we have the conventional viewpoint?
Both.
Both
Because in the sermons, 4 expositions are there: Pratman Yog, Charnan Yog, Karnan Yog, and Dravyan Yog. So all the statements in Dravyan Yog are majorly from real viewpoint. But the other 3 expositions are having conventional statements as the major one, right? So everywhere. Now when say that
Okay.
Marichi will become the 24th Tirthankar, in the sermons of Bhagwan Mahavir, it was said, no, in the sermons of Adinath Bhagwan, somebody asked that why Marichi is propagating false religion against you. So then Adinath Bhagwan said in his sermons that he is supposed to be becoming the 24th Tirthankar. Okay. And it's going to take a long time. So that's why he is doing such things, so that he get births in infinite times in different species, and then he gets to become a 24th Tirthankar. So it's all there in the sermon. Whatever knowledge we have in Jainism will all come from the sermons of the Tirthankar. Okay. So both viewpoints are used in Jinvani every now and then. Only thing is that we have to understand from what perspective it is being said, whether it is a conventional or real. Conventional, if it is there, then we have to take a conclusion that it is not the truth. Okay. Em nathi. In Gujarati, it said em nathi. Aisa nahi hai. It is being said from a certain perspective. Okay. So the real viewpoint is as it is. Aisa hi hai. So these are the conclusions. Okay. But having said that, the question was that if only the real viewpoint is the truth one, then why use conventional statement at all? Why are you confusing? So that is the question here, and we are going to discuss this right now. So
Thank you,
here,
sir.
I am reading the answers because we have little time left. Otherwise, we can do it tomorrow also. This is an interesting topic. So we will take
So
up.
let's do it right now, no? If it will 5-10 minutes extra.
Okay, then fine. Then we'll
We
finish.
are in the flow, no? So we can-
Yeah. Okay, done. So here the question arises that if conventional viewpoint is considered to be untruthful, unreal, then why is it discussed in Jain text at all? Understood the question, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The contemplation on the multifaceted, anekantatmak. Now, what is this multifaceted reality? The substance itself. Whether it is soul, or it is matter, or it is medium of motion, medium of rest, space, time, all have these multifaceted reality. Okay. Just now we considered attributes, then properties, power, and nature. Okay. So all these are part of the, now we are considering, say, pure soul. Okay. So all these are part of the pure soul. So the pure soul is what? It is multifaceted. Okay. Two opposite properties coming together in the same substance. Okay. So the contemplation on the multifaceted reality of a substance and the resolution of disputes, okay, cannot be accomplished with just one viewpoint. Now, the substance is permanent or impermanent? What would you answer? So you have to answer like this, that the substance is permanent from the real point of view and impermanent from the conventional viewpoint. Now, the resolution of disputes can be done only through this manner only. Okay. So the resolution of disputes cannot be accomplished with just one viewpoint. We have to use both viewpoints to explain the substance, because permanence and impermanence are both part of the properties of the substance. You cannot ignore or deny any one of that. Both exist simultaneously. But while explaining, we explain one property at a time. So when we are explaining the permanent part of the property, permanent part of the substance, then we will use real viewpoints. And when we want to explain the impermanence, we will use the conventional statement. So both are being used and both have a purpose. Okay. So resolution of disputes cannot be accomplished with just one viewpoint. So the second viewpoint, that is conventional viewpoint, is necessary. Therefore, during the contemplation of reality or when encountering disputes or doubts about any subject, the knowledge that arises from considering both viewpoints is deemed comprehensive knowledge. Hence, the elucidation of convention is also necessary. First point. Second point, for the establishment of a path to spiritual liberation, okay, path of spiritual liberation, conventional viewpoint is essential. All the preachings are from conventional. So when we say that when the Tirthankar is doing a preaching, okay, so we have to use the conventional viewpoint. Conventional viewpoint is essential. So to continue this path of liberation, the conventional viewpoint is necessary, essential, because real viewpoint is inexpressible, because real viewpoint expresses the pure soul, and that is inexpressible. Okay, so to express that pure soul, we have to use the conventional statement that, see, the one who moves is a soul, okay, conventionally, like that. And in the process of imparting teachings, conventional viewpoint is paramount. The second logic. Thirdly, without convention in the initial stages, real cannot be understood nor explained. Okay, just as a foreigner cannot be taught without using his language. Okay, similarly, without convention, the teachings of real are impossible. Therefore, as a means to explain real, the presentation of the seemingly unreal conventional has been considered. Due to the aforementioned three reasons, the conventional viewpoint has been considered somewhat real. Okay, this is the end of this discussion. Now, two points you can add up to this. The first one is Sem6 verse number 12, where it mentions that person who are in the lower stages, who cannot understand the real viewpoint, they are being explained through the conventional viewpoints. Okay, so for them, conventional viewpoint is very, very necessary. The next fifth point is given on page number, here in Hindi it is 17. So in English, I would mention you the page number. 1 minute. I think it is 16 there. Are both viewpoints equally worthy of acceptance? That is the question there on the page number 16. But right now I am explaining you this. Yeah, so there it is explained that since conventional viewpoint is always discarded when we want to reach the real viewpoint, people does not assume it to be that it is non-existent. Okay, so for them also this conventional viewpoint is somewhat truthful. Okay, to some extent it is truth also. So these are the 5 reasons because of which the conventional viewpoint is used in Jain text. Otherwise, we cannot explain you the nature of the soul. Okay, so all these are conventional viewpoint is also a part of right knowledge, and it has been expressed in Jainism majorly to explain the reality. Okay, so this is there. Now tomorrow we will start with this. Why is the conventional viewpoint which explains real deemed unreal? Okay, from here, that is page number 8. You can also refer this, the one that I was talking about. Yeah, this one, this question. Why is it necessary to state both mutually contradictory viewpoint? Can both mutually contradictory viewpoints be accepted simultaneously? Are both viewpoints equally worth of acceptance? All these three questions explains the fifth point, okay, that we discussed just now, and this is page number 12. Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow from here. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. बोलो द्वात्सांगी जिनवाणी माता की
जय.
जय.
धन्यवाद जी, धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
So